Mr. Pop.
Hello, welcome to Sketchyville. So today we're doing something really exciting. If you've been watching the blog all week, you kind of know what's going on. If you haven't been watching the blog, why the hell not? Like, really, what's wrong with you? If you haven't been watching the blog, go to www.sketchyville.net and check it out. The link is in the top right corner. So all week, we've been posting projects that we have been making with the exact same base crafting material. And basically, what I did was I had all of these leftover little wooden discs from a project I had made. And they look like this, and they're just small. And I put little holes in the top of them. And I gave them to everybody in the group and said, make something with them. Because we all have very different styles, I knew that we would get a variety of projects. And then with the things that we made, we created kits that you can purchase and make yourself, whichever one is your favorite or all of them, whatever. So we're going to talk about what we made today and possibly talk about some other things. Kind of depends on how much time we have. And you'll notice we are not together. We are doing a team meeting virtually because Neely is disease-ridden, potentially. But that's okay. We still love her. So Neely had the first blog post. So go ahead and unmute and tell us about what you made, Neely.
So for mine, I made keychains. I did 4 different designs. I tried to do some that were easier than others. And I made sure that there was only 4 colors, even though I really wanted to do more. I wanted it to be easy and simple. And I really enjoyed doing these, actually. And having to do it with just a couple colors was kind of challenging for me. This is my favorite one. I had never done this design before, but I really like how it turned out. And I figured this is kind of a fun thing that you can make for people as a gift or just for yourself. You could even make like friendship keychains and just give them to your group of friends. But yeah, I didn't paint the backs, but you can do that if you want to. And
okay, so now the kit for yours is going to come with 4 of the discs and the keychain pieces to go with. It's going to come with all the paint you need, right? The 4 colors plus the black.
Yep.
And triple gloss sealer as well, right?
Yes.
And those, I don't have your exact one, but oh, everybody got a shot up my nose. They come in pots like these. So they're 3 millimeter or 3 milliliter pots, I think. So you should have plenty to do your entire or do all 4 keychains. And then it comes with a brush as well to do the base painting and the sealer, but doesn't come with the dotting tools. So
yeah.
If you don't have dotting tools, if you don't want to go buy them on Amazon, what can you use to make that project if you don't have one?
So there's so many things that you could use for the ends of, to make the dots. I mean, you could even use the end of the paintbrush that comes with it. That's would be a larger dot, but you can also do toothpicks, bobby pins. If you have the clicker pens, the end of that, anything that is rounded on the ends can be used for that.
So for the small dots, you could use toothpicks or did you say
or
that?
You could even use, toothpicks, bobby pins. It's kind of hard to see, but you could use that. You would just want to kind of bend it open so it's not in the way, but that would be for a smaller dot. But yeah, toothpicks, even the ends of makeup brushes, if you have, some that you don't care to get dirty, but that would be the easiest things that you would have lying around to use for something like this.
Were there any pitfalls that you ran into when you were making yours? Anything that was hard to do or that you found difficult?
One thing I struggled with was because they're, patterns, but the key ring hole up here. So when I was trying to complete it and have it all look equal on both sides, because that's the point of a mandala. You almost have to eyeball where it would be, and it's going to be kind of a half circle, or it's going to go off the disc. So you just kind of have to eyeball it and be like, okay, that's where that would go, but otherwise, not really. I really enjoyed this because they're small and wasn't too big of a project, and you could fit a lot of detail in it if you wanted.
So about how long did it actually take you to make all 4 keychains?
Probably altogether, including dry time, 2 hours. So it wasn't too bad. I let it dry for a little while at the end just to make sure it was good before I sealed it, so nothing got messed up. But yeah, it wasn't terribly long.
Do you have any tricks for getting everything nice and even? Because I know with dot work, that regularity is an important part of it.
I don't know about tricks, but for this one, you really have to follow along. So you got to make sure you're using the same tool for each circle as you go out, and you want to make sure there's enough paint on the end. Otherwise, you can come up with some half circles, and then you have to go back in and fix it like that.
Okay, so then I have the second blog post of the week, and I knew that Lexi and Neely were going to likely be doing something very artistic and trendy with theirs, and so I had to do something completely opposite. And because miniatures are my thing right now, I took mine and made little miniature, my hands around them, little miniature club chairs. So I was kind of I really dig that retro mid-century modern look. So I was going for that feel with them, and I took 2 of the discs and threw them in boiling water for 10 minutes and managed to get them to curve to make the back of the chair. And then to kind of go get that mid-century look, I stained the front of the chair, but then painted the back. So you have that wood and black look. I did not seal these. You could put a glossy sealer on it to make it look like that really high polish wood thing that they did back then. I used a scrap of fabric from a velvet bag that a set of earphones came in to upholster the seat. And then just a dowel and some wire that I used to make the legs. I had tried to do this really fancy kind of molded aluminum look to make these really cool legs, and it did not work, and I almost threw it against a wall. So we went with the dowels, which was a little simpler, easy to do, and it still came out pretty cool. So I'm pretty happy with them. So my kit is going to include 6 of the wood discs, and mine will not have holes in them. You can actually see on the bottom, I did use one with a hole, but the other ones don't have them. So in my kit, they're not going to have holes because we're not doing anything dangly. It's going to come with the 6 wood discs, batting for the seat, but no fabric, because I don't know what your dollhouse decor is like. So you can cover it in any color that you want. You just need a scrap of fabric that's 4 inches-ish. It doesn't take much. So it's going to come with the discs, the batting, the dowels, the wire, and then black and gold paint and a paintbrush. Yeah, and I think that's it. I might have forgotten something. You'll have to look at the listing because I will go through my supply list when I do that. So, and then in my kit, you will be able to make 2 mid-century modern chairs.
What did you use for the wiring on the
wire?
Just regular wire? I didn't know if you, because you had talked about those paper clips at one point.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying. I was trying to use paper clips. I got these big, thick paper clips that were really difficult to cut through, but you still could cut through them. And I was trying to make these kind of U-shaped legs. That did not work. No, that was a bad scene, and lots of swear words were said. So this is just craft wire. I'm not even sure what the gauge is on it. It's maybe a 16 or 18 gauge wire. Super easy to cut. And it's just bent. The first one I did with round nose pliers to get the bends in it, but that didn't work so great. So the second one, I took one of the dowels that I used for the legs and just used that to get the bends in it. And then I painted it gold to match the little caps on the feet of the chair and glued it in.
Did you use a mold of some sort to shape the back, or did you just do it with your hands?
You start out, you have to kind of work it slowly because you don't want to crack the wood. But when you take it out of the boiling water, you just kind of start working it in your hands and getting the curve into it. And actually, the discs are plywood. So there's actually like 3 layers. And one of them is going to, after you boil it for 10 minutes, it's going to wrinkle and start like peeling off. So you peel that one off, and that actually makes it bend easier. Because you can then, once that layer is off, you can see where the thicker center core, how the grain runs in it. And so you want to bend it with that grain, not against it. So you kind of start bending it with your hands. And then I kind of figured out, how much of a curve I wanted in it beforehand, and found a plastic jar, basically. And once I had kind of bent it with my hands, I stuck it on the container and rubber banded it as tight as I could, and then left it for a day. You want it to be like completely dry before you take it off of that mold, because otherwise it will start going back into its original shape, because it wants to be flat. It does not want to be round. So you kind of have to do it slowly and gently. So is that it? Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment that I love the gold on the bottom. That's my favorite.
It's very retro, that gold. It was, growing up, I'm not a child of the 60s, but I am of the 70s and 80s. And that gold was a thing. They liked them gold chair things. All right, so that is my project. So Lexi, show us what you did.
All right, and hopefully this doesn't go terribly, because I just realized I'm about to dangle something in front of the cat. So I did one of these very fancy, and I've got it backwards, moon hangings, and the cat is looking like this is candy. So if you get kind of close, I painted all of these to have different moon phases on them. And then I got some chain and attached these to chain with jump rings. And the hardest part of this whole project is actually this bit here with all these little rings that are screwed into this dowel to hang everything off of. That was probably the biggest pain of the whole thing, was trying to get those little screws in there. But otherwise, this is actually fairly simple. The painting looks really fancy, but I used all kind of simpler painting techniques, just smudge brushing the moon texture in. And you can use an old paintbrush for that. You can use sponge. Honestly, whatever you think is going to give you that kind of irregular texture. Then just kind of lightly, put a bunch of paint on there, rub it off, and then just, on there. I don't know a better way to describe that other than the sound effect. Just.
So what is your kit going to come with?
Mine will come with the dowel, black, silver, gray, and white paint, some Mod Podge to seal everything, the chain, these little screw boys, and some jump rings. Oh, and also, obviously, our wooden rings.
And yours has 9 of those wood circles for each of the moon phases?
Yeah. I did 2 new moons because even numbers are boring. So I put just plain black ones on either side just to balance out the composition of it all. And honestly, what's kind of cool about this is I set it up like this, but you can do different kind of arrangements of your moon. So like one I was toying with was doing a straight like arrow. If you want to get really fancy and have some beading background, you can maybe do some more intricate like chains and loops in here. It's really just kind of up to you and your imagination. I just kind of liked this kind of zigzag look. I thought it looked really pretty when I was laying it out. So that's what I went with.
When you did the phases of the moon, did you just freehand it, or did you like use tape at all to like block the other side off, or?
I did freehand it, but if you wanted to, you could take a round shape and just kind of like scooch it along as you're going and just like use that as a guide, pencil it in. I I joke all the time, I'm an Aries, so I'm just like, let's go in there and do it. And I always just kind of clean it up afterwards, usually, with round shapes. And you can see like this one here, things are a little wobbly if you get really close to it. But when you got it hanging up, it just looks nice and even. Nobody's really looking at it that close, so.
I feel like you could even, and I don't know what you would use for it, but to make a wind chime with it, it would be kind of cool.
Oh yeah, and if you wanted to like drill holes in coins or crystals or whatever and work that in here, I think that you could do all sorts of cool stuff. And kind of the fun of this kit too is if you like had, say, the Paints for Neely's kit, you could, instead of doing moon phases, you could put a bunch of dot mandalas on these and have a different style of wall hanging. You could really do whatever you like with this. I just kind of love that like celestial, like trendy moon phase thing that's been going around like TikTok and places lately, and wanted to do my own version of it.
You could probably like dress up the dowel too, like paint it a different color or wrap some textile around it or something like that to, give it a different look to fit your home decor.
Yeah, I kind of played with doing like some silver striping or something on mine, but I decided in the end that I wanted it to have a little bit of the more simple look for mine. But yeah, absolutely. You could take that other paint and polka dot or stripe or do whatever to like just give it like your own look to it.
Okay, so those are the projects that we made in a little bit of a wrap up on what we've been doing. And we actually hope to keep doing this, if not monthly, pretty frequently in the future. So if you haven't already, again, go to the blog and read the posts over the last week. Not only do we tell you about our projects, but there are step-by-steps showing how we did them. So if you do buy a kit, you can use those blog posts as a reference for how to put it together. So definitely go visit our blog at sketchyville.net/blog, or just click on the link for the blog. So thank you so much for joining us today. If you guys have any questions, comments, things that you want us to talk about, projects you'd like to see, please leave it in the comments on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Let us know. We're here for you to build content for you. So if you have something you want to see, we will absolutely try and do that for you. If you haven't, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, visit our webpage. It's really cool there. And subscribe to us on YouTube. We really, really need subscribers. It helps us be able to reach farther to more people and figure out YouTube's crazy ass metric. So if you haven't subscribed to us already, please do so. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, that's okay. We will figure out a way to go on with our lives. So thanks for visiting Sketchyville. Have a great day, and we'll see you again real soon. Mr. Pop.